Do you remember your first job? I remember my first job, and I remember even the motivation for my first job. It was in 1973, 1974, I think it was 1974, and I asked my mom if I could have a pair of Converse All-Stars. And you know, when you ask your parents if you can have something, that means, will you get it for me? And she said, this is one of the most critical things I've ever learned about the value of money. She said, if you think I'm gonna buy you a pair of $13 sneakers, you are out of your mind. And I thought, okay, so I need to have my own job so I can go get my own $13 and buy my own $13 sneakers. And then I got a job. I was 14 years old. I was making $1.55 an hour. So maybe it was 1975. I was making $1.55 an hour. And I remember when I got my first paycheck, I don't remember how much it was, but it was less than $100 for 2 weeks worth of work. And I decided that when I got my paycheck, I was not going to buy the $13 sneakers either, because I worked way too hard for this money to spend $13 on some sneakers. And so I bought the Converse Coaches for $9 instead. And I tell you that story because we've all been programmed that you have to have a job. But I submit to you that you can, like I have been since 1994, gainfully unemployed. You can become psychologically unemployable and vocationally dysfunctional and not have a job and make millions of dollars from home. And today I'm going to talk to you about homemade millionaire secrets. But I'm going to read a story from the Bible. And it says in 1st and 2nd Kings chapter 4, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the story. It says, now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, thy servant, my husband, is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Lord. And the creditors come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, what shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in the house? And she said, thine handmaid hath not anything in the house save a pot of oil. Then he said, go borrow thee vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels, borrow not a few. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and thou shalt pour out into all those vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. So she went from him and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass when the vessels were full that she said unto her son, bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, there is not a vessel more, and the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of God. And he said, go sell the oil, pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. Now let me give you a little background on this story before we get started. Understand first and foremost that in the Bible times, if you owed somebody money and you could not pay them, they could take you and your family or members of your family to be their slaves, their servants, their indentured servants until the year of Jubilee, where everything was released back to its original owner, okay? And so the biblical version of slavery is not the same as the Western United States version of chattel slavery. It wasn't the same thing at all. That was based on kidnapping, which was prohibited in the 10 Commandments when it said thou shalt not steal. That was literally talking about men stealing, about kidnapping people. Okay, so anyway, so this woman and her husband had borrowed some money, but her husband died, and they didn't have life insurance because there was no such thing as life insurance in those days. And so not only had her husband died, but her livelihood had died also. And so now the person they borrowed this money or whatever they borrowed from is coming to get what's his, and she doesn't have it. So he wants her 2 boys to come work for him until the year of Jubilee. So she does what she knew to do, and she went and talked to Elisha. Now, here's what's interesting. Notice the fact that it says there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets. It didn't tell us her name. I believe the reason it didn't tell us her name is because even though the story's about the woman, the story's not about the woman. This reminds me of the verse in Romans where it says the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. This is one of those Old Testament illustrations for a New Testament principle. Some people might say, well, what's the New Testament principle? We could say the New Testament principle could be found in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, where it says, and that you study to be quiet. I think it's verse 11 and 12, and that you study to be quiet and to do your own business, working with your hands as we commanded you, that you may walk honestly toward them that were without. That's talking about paying your bills on time, and that you may have lack of nothing, right? So that's a New Testament principle. This is an Old Testament illustration of that principle. And so I want to, this whole verse, this whole passage that we just read, 7 verses, causes me to ask you the question in this room, you the question on YouTube, what do you have in the house? Because she came to Elisha looking for a solution outside instead of inside, looking for a solution outside the house instead of inside the house. And the Bible tells us in this story some of the things this woman had in her house. Well, the first thing we know she had some relationships in her house. Just like you've got relationships in your house. Let me ask you a question. How are the relationships in your house? Because sometimes houses can have some relationships that feel like those relationships are on a relationship storm on the relationship sea. Can I get a witness up in here? But she had some relationships in the house. Her first relationship clearly was a relationship that she had with the Lord. How do I know she had a relationship with the Lord? She had a relationship with the Lord because she was married to one of the sons of the prophets. She was a young preacher's wife, a young prophet's wife. She had a relationship with the man of God. How do I know that? Because she went to him and told her, like, she didn't go to her father-in-law, she didn't go to her father, she didn't go to her cousin, she didn't go to her next door neighbor, she didn't go to her boss, she went to the man of God. She had a relationship with the Lord. I submit to you that a relationship with the Lord is the most important relationship that you will ever have in your life. God made man, and when I say man, I'm talking about men and women, because God called their name Adam, which means man. God made man for relationship, for connection. That's why God made man. The stars, the trees, the sun, the moon, that's creation. The animals, the dogs, the cats, the alligators, that's creatures. Man, we are creators or creatives. We're co-creators with God. He made stuff out of nothing. We make stuff out of something. And God made man so he could have somebody. Every man and woman listening to my voice right now, he made you for the purpose of having a relationship with him, not for the purpose of believing a religion about him. He made you for relationship. He made me for relationship. And so she had a relationship with the Lord, but she didn't just have a relationship with the Lord, she had a relationship with her loved ones. This woman loved her husband. How do I know? She cried when he died. You know, if you don't love somebody, you don't cry when they die, right? You might feel bad when they die, but you don't cry when they die if you don't have a relationship with them. When other people tell us about people they know that they had a relationship with that died, we feel for the person who had the relationship with the person who died. We don't necessarily cry. This woman's crying. She lost her husband. She had a relationship with the Lord. She had a relationship with her loved one. She had a relationship with her husband who she lost. And she had a relationship with her children who she also loved because she was about to lose her children. So not only, this woman feels like everything is going away. My husband's gone. My lover is gone. My livelihood is gone. And now I'm about to lose my lineage to the very same circumstance. This woman had some relationships in her house. But she also had a relationship with the leader. Who was the leader? The leader was Elisha. He started a school for the prophets. Her husband went to school there. And so she knew Elisha and Elisha knew her. How do I know that? Because when she went to him, she said, thy servant, your servant Elisha, my husband is dead. And you know that he loved the Lord. How did she know he knew it? Because she had a relationship with her leader. And it's so interesting how people can have bad relationships with leaders and how leaders can have bad relationships with people. And I think it's because we missed the point that God made you for a relationship with him, but he made the people around you for a relationship with them, for you to have a relationship with them. And you're not always going to agree. Sometimes you're not going to disagree. You're not going to agree. But you know what? You still have a relationship. Now, I don't have falling outs with people that I'm in relationship with. I don't fall out with the people that I love. I just don't do it. Now, I love my wife, I love my brothers, I love my children, I love my friends. Like, I don't fall out. Now, I might cut you off. Oh, I'm keeping it real now. Just because you my friend today, you my friend because I'm friendly to you and you friendly to me. But if you start acting like a foe, I ain't going to keep treating you like a friend, right? So I just want to make sure y'all understand. I'm keeping it real, right? You are my friend until you prove otherwise. Can I get a witness? And I don't like to fight, but I don't mind, right? Okay, just want to make sure y'all know who you're dealing with, okay? And my mom and dad taught us you might get in a fight. You might lose the fight, but you bet not run from the fight. Anyway, it has nothing to do with the message today. Just reminiscing about mama and daddy. Okay. And so the other night, somebody that I'm really close to, we had a disagreement over something that popped up. That's all I'm going to say. And it got a little intense. And I don't back down. And they don't back down. And it got a little intense. And I thought, this is not going anywhere good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix it right now. I'm going to yield. Because I can. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. If I yield, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. It's going to make my life harder tomorrow. But I'm going to yield because my relationship is more important right now than me being right. And so I yielded, and then I texted this beautiful person in my life, and I said, I want you to know that I love you to life. And I'm sorry. And I wasn't saying I'm sorry because I feel like I was wrong. I don't feel like I was wrong, but I don't feel like they were wrong either. There was just one of those impasses that, like, this is, okay, both of y'all right, which one gonna give? Well, this time I'm gonna give. Why? Because I can control that. And it will make my tomorrow better and their tomorrow better. And it will make the rest of my day-to-day better, and it'll make the rest of their day-to-day better. So I'm gonna yield, and it's worth it. It doesn't always happen like that. That's just one that I remember because it happened recently. Why am I telling you this? Because the relationships with the people that you love are important. The relationships that I have in business are important. Like in business, you have to keep your word. The relationships you have with leaders in your life, it's important. You have to, it is what it is. Okay, so, but this woman didn't just have some relationships in her house, she also had some reversals in her house. What were the reversals? Well, the first reversal is death. That is what we call an irreversible reversal, right? When somebody dies, they are gone. Now you'll see they don't cease to exist. They just gone from here, right? And there's no. People say, "Well, you'll get over it." You won't get over it. You'll get through it. There's no getting over somebody you're close to, a sibling, a parent, a child, a grandparent. They die. There's no getting over it. There's just getting through it. And when it first happens, the pain is so great that you can't feel the peace. But as you maintain your relationship with the Lord and stay in close proximity, the peace becomes greater than the pain. I remember, it's really interesting how the reversal of death, it reminds you of the reality of eternity. People, like, eternity is real. It reminds you of the brevity of life. Life is short. If you live to be 100, life is short. And it reminds you of the illusion of control. Control? You think you're controlling something? If you can control something, you would have controlled that. I remember sitting in that hospital room when my oldest son passed away in 2007. And my wife was there and my other two children were there. And I realized how hopelessly helpless I really am. Didn't matter how much money I had. I had lots of money. Didn't matter how much I knew, and I knew a lot. Couldn't fix that one. The reversal of death will wake you up to some stuff you've been slumbering on. And this woman lost her husband. He died. That's a reversal. But it'd be bad enough if that was the only one. But there was also the reversal of debt. They had borrowed money they couldn't pay back. They had borrowed money she couldn't pay back by herself. Let me. They didn't have insurance back then. Can I challenge y'all? Can I challenge y'all on YouTube? Get yourself some life insurance. Because there's only two kinds of people when it comes to life insurance. Those who are glad they had it and those who wish they had. Anyway, the reversal of debt. If you have life insurance and somebody that you love dies, it gives you the money to pay off some debt because you ain't going to feel like working. And if you have children, guys, husbands who have wives that work at home, like saying that a wife who's a stay-at-home mother and a wife doesn't work is an illusion. And if you had to do her job, you'd know how much of an illusion it is. Anyway, guys think, well, I don't need any insurance on my wife. She doesn't do anything. Oh, yeah, she does a whole lot. And you don't see what she does because you ain't there while she does it, just like she can't see what you do because she ain't there when you do it. Can I get a witness? But if something happens to her while your children are small, you're going to have way more work to do than you got time for. And so one of the reasons you want to have your spouse insured is because if something happens to her, you need to replace the work she does so you can be there for your children who are also grieving. Is that helping anybody? And I've heard people say, back when I used to sell insurance, I don't sell it anymore, but I heard people say, well, I don't want to leave my wife a whole bunch of money and then all she's going to do is just marry somebody else. Okay, so you want her to have to go be with somebody else because you didn't leave her any money. Let's look at both sides of the equation now. Can I get a witness? I digressed. She had the reversal of debt. Debt is bad when it uses you. Debt is good when you use it. There's a lot of cool things you can use debt for. You can use debt for leverage. You can use debt to take advantage of opportunities you don't have the cash for. You can use debt to keep your money making more money than the bank is going to charge you to use their money. You can use debt to minimize or eradicate completely taxes. But you got to understand how to use debt and don't let debt use you. Anyway, she had the reversal of debt, but she also had the reversal of doubt. Because everything is going bad, or it feels like everything's going to keep going bad. Like there's something about downward momentum that's harder to stop than upward momentum. Can I get a witness? And so she had the reversal of doubt. Now, this woman didn't just have relationships in her house, and she didn't just have reversals in her house. This woman had some resources in her house. But because of the reversals, she couldn't see the resources. I want you to wrap your mind around what I just said. Because of the reversals that she had, she could not see the resources. It wasn't that the resources weren't there. It was that she couldn't access them because she could not see them. Her lack of awareness created a lack of access to an abundance of resources that were already in her house. I'm going to tell you something. I have made millions of dollars working from home. I haven't always had a studio with fancified lights and sophisticated cameras and a bunch of people who knew how all that stuff worked. My first $1 million I made out of a spare bedroom in my house. No, it was actually out of the basement in my house in Pennsylvania. First time I ever made $1 million in a year. Made it out of the basement in my house. I had some stuff going on in my house. My question for you is, what do you have in your house? What do you have in the house? See, if you become aware of the resources that you already have, everybody tap yourself on the chest, say, I already have them. If you become aware of the resources you already have in your house, you might become the next homemade millionaire. So she comes to Elisha telling him about her reversals. And Elisha did her a favor. He said, what you want me to do about it? Ain't that a good question to ask people who want you to be the solution to their problem? What you want me to do about it? She said, thy servant my husband is dead, and you know that he feared the Lord. Now the creditors come to take unto him my two sons to be bondmen. He said, what shall I do for thee? What does that mean? In modern day vernacular, that means what you want me to do about it. I believe she was looking for an offering. That's why people tell the preacher they problems, so they can get an offering. When I used to pastor a church, I was blown away by how many cars knew to run out of gas right in front of our church building. It's amazing. Like, you're in front of the church now, it's out, it's on empty. I'm sorry, I can't resist. Like, I am not kidding though, that's real. She was looking for an offering, but he didn't give her an offering. You know why? Because sometimes an offering helps to harm. And sometimes when you say no, when somebody asks you for something, that's hurt that helps. And see, everything that hurts don't harm, and everything that helps don't help. And sometimes you can give people help that keeps them from seeing the resources they already have. So he said, what do you want me to do about it? He asked her three questions that are implying three statements. He said, what do you want me to do about it? What does that mean? That means expect more from yourself than you do from other people. Then he said, tell me, express yourself. What does that mean? You've told me about the problem, now tell me about the solution. Tell me what you have in your house. What solution have you figured out before you came to me wanting me to fix it? Fix it. Before you came to me asking me to fix it, what have you done to fix it? Tell me about the solution you came up with. Let me help you tweak your solution. And then he gave her some optimism. He said, he said, expect more of yourself. No, he said, expect more from yourself. Then he said, express yourself. And then he said, what do you have in the house? He said, examine yourself. What do you have? Hey, take inventory of your gifts. Take inventory of your resources. I can't do anything. All I know how to do is cook. You can't become a homemade millionaire cooking. Really? Ask Rachel Ray. All she did was she knew how to make some stuff and she turned the camera on. My wife made some wonderful, delicious pumpkin cookies and snooker doodles, and some other stuff. Pumpkin cookies, I forgot what the other one, and sugar cookies, I think. I don't know, I don't remember. My wife can bake now. She'll hurt Betty Crocker's feelings. Don't play with me. And she will watch baking videos on YouTube like there's no tomorrow. You need to be, she doesn't need to be, but she could be having her own video. See, you're saying, all I know how to do is cook. Turn a camera on and cook. All I know how to do is fix the car. Turn a camera on, fix the car. All I know how to do is fix that. Turn the camera on. And I know to turn on the camera, but I'm using poor grammar and ending on a preposition for emphasis. Turn the camera on. And see, what people don't realize is you have the same problem this woman had. She suffered from the world's most prolific business disease. It's called I'm just me-itis, inflammation of the I'm just me gland. He said, what do you have in the house? She said, I don't have anything in my house but thine handmaid hath not anything in the house save or but this pot of oil. I don't have anything but I know how to write poetry. Okay. I don't know how to do, I'm just a homemaker. I can't do anything. I'm just a homemaker. You can't become a homemade millionaire being a homemaker. Well, but you can become a homemade billionaire if you don't believe me. Ask Martha Stewart. Homemade billionaire. keeping house and documenting everything she did, writing it down in books and turning on a camera. Here's the problem that you have that she didn't have. You don't believe your skills are valuable. She believed hers were. It's so amazing. When I was broke as a joke and ready to choke, I knew stuff that other people wanted to learn. I just didn't turn the camera on. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Marion, I'm not good at anything. I just ask questions all the time. People say I talk too much and I ask too many questions. You can't make any money asking questions and talking. Ask Oprah Winfrey. She's a billionaire with a B and owns a letter of the alphabet. Interview people. Nobody wants to hear from me? Good. Interview people they want to hear from. Take that curiosity and turn it into cash flow. I was a trash man waking up at 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. Getting dressed, eating breakfast, drive out to the truck yard where the trucks were, drive my truck into the shop, check all the air pressure and all the tires, check all the hydraulics, check the oil, and then go take a truck and dump it at the landfill. And I'd take 3, 4, or 5 trucks a day for $6.25 an hour, $9.50 an hour for overtime. And I remember telling my wife, baby, if we can make $300 a week, we're gonna be all right. And that's what I did during the day. I drove a garbage truck. Then I'd come home and take a nap, and I'd go out and knock on people's doors and talk to them about insurance and investments. And guess what? Because I was working on some stuff that wasn't working for me, the stuff I was working on me. And I let it work on me until I became the person for whom it can work. Dr. Ron, I got started in life insurance in October of 1985. I passed my test in January of 86. I was doing presentations and going on presentations from October of 85. And I did all of October, all of November, all of December, all of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, October, November, December, still ain't made a sale. January, February, still ain't made a sale. March, still ain't made a sale. April, 1987, finally made a sale. Gobs and gobs of presentations. No. Yo, bro. What part of no you have a hard time with? The N or the O? It's a 2-letter word. So, bro, don't you understand? No? I just kept doing it anyway. I kept working on what wasn't working for me until I became the person for whom it would work. And somebody finally said yes. But something else happened that day. I finally found a way that would work. This is why I do not have entrepreneurial ADD like so many entrepreneurs. I found something that worked and I put it on rinse and repeat, and I haven't gotten bored with it since. You find something that works, don't get bored with it, get paid with it. And I became the top salesperson in our office month after month after month after month after month. People say, Myron, what happened? I ran out of all the ways that wouldn't work. See, some of y'all are not willing to have enough iterations to run out of the stuff that don't work. I wish I had some help in here. Oh, Lord. And I wrote a book called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, How Anyone Can Get Rich Starting From Anywhere. It's 150-something pages. It sells for $20. Now, we don't sell a ton of them, but we sell $7,000 or $8,000 worth of these books a month. I wrote it in 2006. This book has made me millions of dollars. This book, I'm not bragging. I'm telling you, you could write a book about something. There was a dude. His name was Henry. His name wasn't Henry. His brother's name was Henry. He wrote a book called Me and Henry about the adventures of him and his brother growing up. This is a real story. This will happen for real. Nobody would publish his book. So you know what he did? He published it himself. No bookstore would take it. So you know what he did? He opened up a bookstore. And the only book in the bookstore was Me and Henry. And the name of the bookstore was the One Book Bookstore. And it became a tourist attraction. And people from all over the United States would go to the One Book Bookstore and buy Me and Henry. And guess what he did? He wrote a sequel about him and his mama. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being funny. This happened. It's called Me and Mama. And you think you have an excuse. Seriously. You think you have an excuse. Here's your problem. Your problem is you're so used to instant coffee, instant hot chocolate, microwavable meals, push-button success, drive-through banking. You think you want to have drive-through, push-button, microwave, instant success, and it don't work like that because you have to become the person for whom it will work. He said, what do you have in the house? She said, thine handmaid hath not anything in the house save a pot of oil. She had some resources in the house. What are the resources she had in her house? She had her oil. What is oil? Oil is the thing that you have right now that you could sell, but you don't think it's worth anything. Do you understand? I know a guy who's made millions of dollars teaching people how to jump higher. I met a dude back in 2005. The only thing he had going for him, he said, I was really bad. He took something he was really bad at, turned it into a very successful business. He said, I was really bad at playing PlayStation Madden football. I was really bad at it. So every time one of my friends beat me, I'd ask him, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? He documented all the plays his friends used to beat him. He became good at PlayStation Madden football. He started writing playbooks for PlayStation Madden football. First year, he did okay. He made $18,000 selling that ebook. I've never played PlayStation Madden football in my life. This dude made $18,000 selling playbooks for PlayStation Madden football. Next year, he made $80,000. The last time I talked to him, he was making $180,000 a year selling playbooks for electronic video games. And you think your thing is not valuable. Now, she had the resource of oil. She had the resource of offspring. I'm gonna tell you something. One of the best things you can do for your children is stop doing so much stuff for your children. Because children can do the most remarkable things as long as they have remarkable things to do. You know, my children are doing well. My son and my daughter are doing well. They're not children, they're adults. But they're doing well. One of the reasons they're doing well is because me and my wife didn't give them money. We gave them opportunities. I heard one of my kids say one time, we're rich. I said, y'all ain't rich, me and your mama rich. You thought you was rich, this ain't yours, we just letting you live here. Give your children something to do. My daughter was making $25 an hour when she was 11. My son was making $125 an hour when he was 17 doing graphic design on a computer that he got for Christmas for clients of mine who wanted stuff designed, and he was a negotiator. Oh man, you know me and your dad friends? Yeah, we are. But if you want me to do it for you, you got to pay me. How much is it? $125. $125. And he'd go do it in an hour, boom. He got paid $125 an hour. See, he valued what he had when he was 17. You don't value what you have in a few years past that. She had oil, she had offspring, and she had an opportunity to go around and connect with all of her neighbors. And he said, go borrow. Now this is fascinating to me. One of the reversals she had was debt. One of the things the man of God told her to do. In fact, the first thing he told her to do was go borrow. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't get in debt. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you play that game. I'm going to use that. I have over 3 million American Express points because I don't use debit cards. You use debit cards, there's something about money you don't understand. You know how much 3 million American Express points is worth? $30,000. I can go buy stuff on Amazon all day long. Ain't got to take a penny out of my pocket. You know why? Because I used my American Express card to buy stuff I was going to buy anyway. And they're going to pay me to buy stuff? They're going to pay me to buy stuff, and I ain't going to get... You got me confused with Byron Silver. This is Myron Golden. I ain't playing. I'm using American... Child, please. Okay. I'm going to use debt every time I get a chance. I can use the bank's money cheaper than I can use my money. I'm going to use debt. Anyway, I don't have time to go into that. I'm going to say this. He said, when you follow God's principles, he can show you how to use your problem to solve your problem. Go borrow. Now, I love the fact that he didn't say, go ask the neighbors to give you the bottles. Go borrow them. Got any bottles I can borrow? Yeah, here's a bottle. Here's a bottle. Here's a bottle. Here's a bottle. She didn't even know why she was doing it. She came back after she had all the bottles. She told the man of God. She said, all the bottles are full. And the oil, still got oil, but I'm out of bottles. He said, now go sell the oil, pay thy debt, live thou and thy children of the rest. Go. This is her opportunity. Go borrow, go sell, go pay, go live. That's the opportunity. Can you imagine her knocking on the door? You want to buy some oil? That bottle looks familiar. Yeah, I borrowed it from you yesterday. Do you want to buy some oil? What an efficient business. She borrowed the bottles more than likely from the same people she sold the oil to. Wow. What do you have in the house? I'm going to give you the formula for the homemade millionaire, and then I'm going to be done because we got to go live here in another couple of minutes. So here we go. Have a product that makes you $20. For me, that's this. Sell 50,000 of them, which is only 1,000 a week. That's $1 million. You say, I can't sell 1,000 a week. Okay. Sell 100 a week. Sell 100 a week, you make $100,000 a year. Do that for 10 years, you've made over $1 million with a $20 product. But guess what? If you take this same book and you turn it into a $200 course, you could sell that. And you only have to sell 5,000 of them to make the same $1 million. Huh. What if you turned it into a $2,000 home study course with modules and workbooks and everything? Same content, different context, different packaging. You only have to sell 500. Now let me help you understand 500. If you have a $2,000 product that you sell for a $2,000 product that you sell 500 of, that's only 2 a day, 5 days a week. That's 10 a week, 10 sales a week. That's $1 million. There's not a person listening to me right now that could not come up with a $200 offer. Certainly a $20 offer, that's easy. $200 offer. A $2,000 offer, many of you could come up with a $2,000 offer right now, something that provides people with more than $2,000 worth of value they'd be happy to pay you $2,000 for. You go sell 500 of them, sell 2 of them a day, 5 days a week. That's $1 million. And if you do that, you, like me, can become a homemade millionaire. Hope this blesses you. Stay blessed by the best, and we'll see you on the next video.